Hey everyone, we're back. Happy Monday. Today we're going to talk about the Colleen Ballinger controversy. Oh man, has this become the biggest story in the past week, and who better to explain it to you guys than the drama king? I legitimately have enjoyed covering these stories the past few weeks. I know I make jokes about the TikTok tea, but this is like the most fun I've had being on YouTube in a while. I'm glad people are enjoying the way I'm covering stories. You know, it's honestly very relieving to talk about news that like doesn't matter, that doesn't have like any impact on my life, and I don't have to feel actual anxiety over it. Sometimes that works better times than others. Sometimes there's more anxiety that comes out of it, but I can't really complain. I'd much rather deal with the Minecraft stands than having to talk about real news and politics and shit, like people dying. I don't want to do that. But depending on the video, some of the topics I touch on are a little more serious and real than the TikTok drama that doesn't have any effect on us. Today's video topic is definitely one of those more serious ones. I'm not going to be doing this multi-hour deep dive on the topic because there are way more stories these past couple weeks, and I want to talk about everything this week. There's so many things people send in. I've never had this many ideas for content before, and I can't keep up. But I put up a poll on my Instagram, and you guys really wanted to see the Colleen drama. So if you want to pick what you want me to talk about, you can, let me know over on social media. Today we're talking about Colleen and the shitstorm that's been following her for the past few years, but that storm has filled with more and more shit in the past week. There's dookie everywhere. Every surface you can imagine has poo on it. And I've been asked to cover Colleen a few times, and it just has never been like current news that I can learn about fast enough to talk about it. Originally, like in the past few months, a lot of people have sent me a subreddit that has grown over the past few years called Colleen Ballinger's Snark. And it's a subreddit talking about all of the weird controversy and situations that Colleen Ballinger puts herself in. And this is basically a subreddit calling her out for her hypocrisy and bigotry and creepy behavior. Colleen is, of course, the person behind the YouTuber personality Miranda Sings, which was very popular when I was younger. I personally wasn't a fan of hers back then or now, but she was everywhere. And these people calling out Colleen for her behavior have been watching and criticizing her for years, but it never seemed to get big enough to actually affect the base she has. She's still selling merch. She's doing live shows on tour. She's posting on social media. I mean, not anymore, but at least a few days ago, she's posting on social media with seemingly no criticism. But now things have gotten very up here. Let's take a look at her most recent Instagram post and just see how people are currently feeling about her. Yeah, top comment with her and her child. Address this situation, you're making it worse. Justice for Adam. These comments are blowing my mind. Resorting to name calling and slurs. Really? I would be blocking each and every one of you for commenting such gross things on a photo of a child. So yeah, you can tell that there's a little bit of fighting going on between people who are still with Colleen and, you know, the mass amount of people who are calling her out for all of the shady things she has done in her past. So let's jump into what it's all about. If I miss any details, comment below. I respond to comments on basically every video I put out. If I miss some smaller details, let me know, and I'll make sure to try to update the video as we go. But of course, there's so much coming out from so many different sides of the story that I'm going to try to cover it in a way that isn't going to take me hours. So Colleen has been in controversy for a bit now, obviously, but the last time she was negatively in the public eye was just over 3 years ago when she put out an apology for multiple things that happened in the past on her YouTube, including some racially insensitive characters she was playing, some fat-phobic jokes that she took part in, an inappropriate relationship she had with a fan who was a minor, and this horrible clip of her talking about the way she treated a dog of hers when she was a child. All of these issues are really easy to find online, so I'm not going to touch on every problem from back then because there's countless people talking about it anyways. And these are just like, a lot of these are disturbing to look at and watch, and it's a very uncomfortable thing. But the reason why this apology was so interesting to me is because it was initially very positively received. People felt like Colleen was doing exactly what a YouTuber should do in an apology. You know, touch on everything in a blunt way that leaves no confusion about the shit you did and be confident that you're owning up to it. And your fans, a lot of the time, will buy it. It's not too hard to convert people who are already wanting to be on your side. and to tricking them into thinking that you're still a good person to follow. This apology is a little bizarre, but unfortunately not rare for a lot of YouTubers who make their way through controversy. But watching it back years later, especially with all the accusations she's receiving, it seems a little bit suspicious. I don't know. Colleen makes a crystal clear point in this apology to clearly state how many years ago these things happened, showing that this was just me being young and stupid, regardless of the fact that she was a fully grown adult who was over 30 years old when a lot of this shit happened.
A video has resurfaced of my sister and I from 14 years ago. People were saying, how dare I talk about racism when I said these things 14 years ago? It's a video that I filmed 12 years ago and shocked that those things were coming out of my mouth 12 years ago. Say, well, I knew better when I was that age, or 14 years ago, I knew right from wrong. I'm so glad that you did.
Now, this is a lot to throw at you at once. I know it's a little bit confusing, and I won't dive too deep into every single controversy from years ago, but the inappropriate relationship that she mentions with a fan of hers is one facet of the story that becomes very, very interesting. Colleen in this apology starts explaining this weird story about how she would send fans like random shit in the mail, like clothes she doesn't need, a bunch of trinkets and knickknacks maybe. And it resulted in this young teenage fan receiving lingerie from Colleen.
The biggest issue that came from his video is that I sent a child underwear, and wow, anyone who heard this out of context and was offended, I completely understand, because I would be too.
Now, being a YouTuber is great, right? I'm walking down the street every day, paparazzi's taking pictures of me, people are stopping me. Oh, I can't breathe, I'm such a big fan, I can't breathe. Love it, of course, it's the best. You should not be regularly developing friendships with fans of yours, especially if you're a grown adult, and especially if these kids are under 18. This fan who initially came out and told their story about Colleen 3 years ago is Adam McIntyre, who is now a 20-year-old YouTuber who originally made a video back in 2020 called Colleen Ballinger Stop Lying, a video that now has 1.7 million views, and it's about the weird relationship that this 13-year-old fan had with Colleen, and how before things got bad, he was actually hired to do work helping her with her channel. And not only was he never paid for it, but he also has a lot of evidence showing that Colleen treated him in a way that a YouTuber shouldn't treat a child, someone who was in middle school at the time. And even worse than that, Colleen has a history of questionable messages that were sent to him and other fans when they were very underaged. And this video from Adam is seemingly the main reason why Colleen ended up making her apology video. Adam's video right now has 64,000 likes and 39,000 dislikes, and Colleen's apology video looks a lot better than that. After her apology came out, fans were so accepting of the way that Colleen handled it that they went to Adam's video and did everything they could to suppress it so it wouldn't have a bad effect on Colleen's career. At the time, there were accusations of Colleen being in group chats and text messages with her young fans, where she'd talk to them about inappropriate shit that should never be sent to a fan, especially one that's 13 years old, which was the age of Adam when they began having this weird relationship with Colleen. Oh yeah, who was a 31-year-old woman at the time. A 31-year-old woman in a group chat with people who are teenagers. Now, I know there's so many extra details of the gross stuff she did, but I do want to get to the present day because it keeps going, of course. That's why I'm here today. In between 2020 and this past week, the subreddit that calls Colleen out for all these things, r/Colleen Ballinger snark, a very fun subreddit to be a part of, it grew to a pretty massive size of over 30,000 people. So sweaty. Excuse my hair. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. People were constantly posting about the way she would exploit and record her children for views, and the way she interacted with fans before that apology that happened in 2020. Now, recently, Adam McIntyre came back to do a full, uncensored deep dive on Colleen and the relationship he's had with her. This is a story that's still developing every single day, but Adam is posting basically every day with hours of content, refusing to let Colleen sweep all of this under the rug once again. As you see, Adam is definitely taking an approach here to really get all that there is to know about Colleen out there to actually have her held accountable for her actions. And I think that's great. I definitely recommend his channel. It'll be linked below if you want to dive in even further to how uncomfortable this entire thing is. But luckily, Adam's videos are being received in a much different light than they were 3 years ago when they originally told this story. But I want to park there for a second because 3 days ago, this story got even bigger when a publication made a post about this controversy on Instagram, and now millions of people are being exposed to this bizarre story. As Impact touches on here, Colleen, who's 36, has a lot of fans who are now in their adulthood, and they're speaking out about the ways that her and her best friend Kory DeSoto, who is also 36, used their platform to reportedly groom children online. Now, a lot of these situations happen in group chats that Colleen was a part of with fans who were around 12 to 17 years old. She allegedly used the group chats to form close relationships with these kids and make them feel special. She talked and vented about her marriage, her sex life, her trauma, and she even asked these minors about their favorite sex position and their virginity. Of course, that's gross. Keep that away from me, please. There are ex-fans who are coming out with screenshots of these group chats that they were in with Colleen. One of these was someone who was 15 years old at the time who came out and talked about the way that Colleen treated them when they were younger, and even included posts from Colleen back then that were also unacceptable for a grown woman to be posting about at the time. Here's another overview of what happened with Adam when they were 15. Colleen asked them for pictures, mailed them lingerie, exploited them for years of unpaid child labor. As you can see, there's a really uncomfortable screenshot here of a group chat called Colleenie's Weenies with presumably a bunch of underage children, where Adam, at age 14, I think, says, "My ass looks so good today, y'all," and 31-year-old Colleen saying, "Pics, Adam." And more of these group texts are constantly coming out, with Adam posting a lot of them on his Twitter, which will also be linked below. There is a DM here that Colleen sent to these kids saying, "Tell me all the thoughts you had when you first got your periods, please and thank you. Example, I thought I shit myself because the blood was so dark in my underwear." That's normal. That's good. That's cool. There are people who are still defending Colleen who replied to this tweet right here and said, "Of course, period is offensive to Adam, a completely normal bodily function." 115 likes right there. You know, it's okay if you as a YouTuber go talk to a bunch of kids who are in middle school and high school and talk to them about sex positions and periods. So especially at this point in the story, I know everything has kind of exploded. We're going every which way, but Adam isn't the only one talking about this anymore. Fans of Colleen have had the courage to speak up about their stories as a result of everything going on. Here's a fan who said, "I'm finally brave enough to share my experiences. I supported Colleen and her family from the age of 13 to 18, and I was in group chats with Colleen and also messaged her privately on Twitter. I logged back into my old account to find so much of what was said absolutely inappropriate of her to say to minors, a whole lot of trauma dumping in the group chat to me, and so much more. At the time, I was a child and also blindsided because she noticed me. The fact I look back now and feel sad that I never saw her manipulating me or saying inappropriate things, etc." And texts even coming out from Colleen's brother, Trent, who has been on her channel before, who talked to minors saying stuff like, "Don't share a conversation with anyone. Anything we talk about stays between you and me. I'm told not to talk to people under 18. You don't look bisexual. How old are you? 13. All of which, of course, again, goes deeper. There are always more messages. There's always more shit to come out. But as a baseline thing, these conversations going longer than 1 or 2 messages with people who are fans of yours who are obviously not of age is inappropriate. It's wrong. It's weird. You shouldn't ever have that part of your brain that wants to do that. And not only that, but someone like Colleen, who has such a big business around her YouTube channel, who has so much going on, you'd think that she'd have enough shit to do where she wouldn't have the time to creep on young kids. She wouldn't have the energy or I guess urge to like go out there and form these weird relationships. It's hard to do that when you have this job. I'm so busy all the time, I don't even respond to the people who are my friends. Why would I want to start making friends with people who watch me and don't even know anything about me? So as you've already heard, Colleen isn't the only person involved in this story. One of her best friends, Kory DeSoto, who is the same age as her, is also under fire for the way he interacted with fans during this time. There's actually a voice memo that Kory sent to a group chat of these fans that has a lot of people cringing over the way that he's handling accusations of grooming with kids.
Hey everyone, it's Kory. I just wanted to record a voice memo because I have like a lot to say, but first of all, I just want to say that like I love all of you. Like, you honestly mean so much to me.
Oh my God.
You have no idea. I know that it sounds weird because I'm a full-grown adult and some of you are younger.
Oh my God.
And blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God.
Like, I honestly think of all of you, like, as my best friends. Like, I don't have friends.
Oh,
and
God.
I'm a loner and I'm a loser. Like, my only friend is Colleen.
Oh my God.
And, like, it's so comforting to, like, go online and talk to you guys and feel, like, loved and cared about, because I love and care about all of you. And I trust you, and, like, with all my friends, I vent to you, and when I'm angry, and I feel better, and I feel comforted by you all, and I hope that I can do the same for you. But, like, this whole thing with Krista has just escalated into something really bad.
Oh my God. Now, 6 days ago, Kory actually fully deleted his Twitter after all of this stuff started coming out. And since then, things have only got worse. And even though Colleen just performed a live event this past weekend, her and her team refused to say anything about what's going on at the shows or online, because the shows are just filled with a bunch of little kids. They don't know any better. They're just dumb. There's nothing going on in their heads. Now, in the past few days, Adam has made a video about Cody Tyler, who is a fan of Colleen's, that originally was a big reason why Adam was suppressed talking about their story in 2020. Now Cody is coming out 3 years later and is confirming a lot of these things that Adam was talking about in 2020. Now, this whole Cody Tyler part of the controversy is another part you can look into. Adam's channel and the subreddit are both great for looking at all of the stuff happening and keeping up with the updates on it, so both of those will be linked below as well. I'm sure more and more content will come out in the coming weeks, so if we want to talk about this more and revisit this disaster of a situation, we can do that. And the more stories that come out, like the ones with Colleen, the more we have to understand our roles in the consumer creator ecosystem. It can be easy to understand that YouTube is this wild, wild west with no rules and anything can really happen and we're still learning. But as just an adult who is providing entertainment to a group of people, we have to understand that not only is that relationship and that power dynamic between a creator and their fans inappropriate, but just as a general rule in everyday life, an adult human being should not be privately talking to teenagers on a group chat. And that itself, I don't find hard to understand at all. I think that's a very clear rule. I can see how someone with the ego of a YouTube creator would want to have access to fans who can directly validate them and make them feel good about themselves. It's like you're a rock star and you got a bunch of groupies following you around, but instead of playing music on stage, you're like dressing up in lipstick and funny clothes, and then in your free time you go and you talk to a bunch of children, actual children. And I'm sure that this isn't even that rare of a case. There are probably a lot of creators out there who have inappropriate interactions with their fans online or in real life. Especially now more than ever, people feel connected to creators because there's people like me who talk straight into a camera as if I'm talking to a friend about something that's going on in the internet, and that's going to make people feel more connected to a figure than back then when people were just into actors and other famous people who did things. I mean, I can say right now that with what I do on YouTube, I do attract an audience that sometimes can feel a little closer to a content creator than they should. I experienced that firsthand when I went on tour and saw the difference that, you know, YouTube commentary fans treat a creator compared to a musician or an actor. Parasocial relationships are very easy to create when you're watching someone who seems like they're not put through all of these layers of like authenticity or whatever. You know, it makes people feel like they can be more comfortable with you and they don't feel like there is as much of a power structure when there always still is. People who have an audience like I do, or really any YouTubers on the platform, need to take the responsibility of keeping their fans safe. And a lot of times, not only do they fail to do that, but they actually are the ones that are making their fans unsafe. It is my responsibility as a content creator to make that boundary and make it crystal clear for people who watch me. And sometimes that isn't as clear when you're in real life and someone comes up to you and they don't know exactly what to say. I have been in a lot of awkward situations where people do treat me as if they're my friend and talk to me as if I owe them something and all. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy talking to fans, but having this job definitely attracts a lot of people who are more comfortable than they should be talking to someone that they watch online. And this is like a topic that is very nuanced and hard to like wrap words around, especially as I'm improvising it towards the camera. But I do think that this situation in particular is a big wake-up call for creators and viewers of creators to understand where they are in that ecosystem. Of course, as consumers of content, it is a fan's responsibility to be respectful towards the person that they're watching, but over anything else, the person that holds that responsibility is the content creator. They are the one that is the common denominator in everything, the thing that's cultivating the audience. It is your responsibility to be good as someone who is framing themselves as a good role model for kids or whatever. And I don't think Colleen or her weird friend or her weird brother really understand just how serious it is that all of this is happening. I mean, I cannot believe that full-grown adults, people who are somehow talking to kids, to children, what do you need to do that for? I think that's really all I have to say. I know I could talk about this for probably twice as long because it's such a complicated situation, but I do have so many stories I want to touch on this week and I only have so much time. Currently, I'm running the channel 100% by myself. I am doing the research on the topics. I am writing the videos. I'm recording, editing everything usually within the day. And so I might miss things because this kind of shit happens so fast. So please let me know what you think about the video down in the comments. I appreciate you watching it. Subscribe if you can. About half of the people who watch all of these new videos aren't even subscribed. You should do that. It would be really nice of you. Oh, please, it would be so nice. I'll put 2 of my other videos up on the screen right now. Check them out if you want to. They should be pretty good. They should be pretty tight. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. Links to everything else is down below. You should follow me on my social media at @NickIsNotGreen. I ask questions on my Instagram all the time. I don't use Twitter as much anymore because it's the worst. All right, that's it. I'll probably see you soon.